All right, let's get this place mowed up. I've actually got 5 here on this street, and then we got quite a few in the neighborhood in general. But let's get it going. And if we want to go ahead and just put everything on the stopwatch so everybody's kind of on the same page, we can kind of do a refresher right here. So let's see. All right, we got it running. Let's go and get some work done. And we'll time it, and later in the video, we'll see what our per man hour rate is, make sure that this job is profitable. That'd be a good little refresher for everybody. But the main thing is that this yard, you're going to kind of get to see me use our 52-inch stander as well as a 36-inch stander. In our market, we've got to have both. I really feel like you need both in our market to cover all your bases. There's so many homes very similar to this, and if we did not have our 36-inch mower to get through back gates, we'd be in real trouble. So again, you're gonna kind of get to see a little bit of everything on this yard. And again, this yard it's gonna be a little bit different because you can see over there on the right at how wet this yard is. Now I actually have to drive on the neighbor's property to access this side of the yard, and look at me hit this water pile right here. It's just gushing. So I realize how wet it is right now. I'm trying to get out of there. Whenever I go to on the neighbor side, I pull the deck up. You're basically just seeing the mow lines there, but I pull the deck up to make sure that I'm not cutting on their side of the property. I've actually have taken care of this neighbor right here that you're seeing in the picture. Previously, I took care of him for several years, and in all honesty, they weren't the easiest people to work for. But that's neither here nor there. But I just want to make sure that I'm not upsetting any neighbors. So this is just a mix of different grasses, and one thing that you guys are going to notice that here in our market, like in the South, we don't do like the striping situation that you guys. These warm season turf grasses, they just don't stripe. It's not so you'll want to kind of have like a thought process or pattern to what you're doing, but you're not going to be putting stripes. So again, this lawn is a mixture literally of everything. It has centipede in it. It has some Bermuda. It has St. Augustine, and it has zoysia grass in it. So it has a little bit of everything. So getting over here to the 36. And I think I'm just talking here in the video about how sopping wet it is. If it makes sense, I'll pull my voice out of this and then go back to those talking parts in the video, because I do think that I mentioned some things that are pretty important here in the course of filming here. But the 36, I'm going to get over into the backyard and start doing some work in there. The backyard itself here is super, super tiny. And again, we run into this a lot in our market. And again, these are the types of lawns that I like to focus on, are these tight lawns. But you can see here how just nimble this little 36 is. It just gets in there and then cuts all those tight areas really, really well. When it's all said and done, we end up being pretty profitable on this job, as you'll see in the end. Our per man hour rate is it's excellent. Look at that water that I'm plowing through. I mean, it's just it's one of those things, guys, where if we did not cut and just get this done, like the lawns aren't getting done. Like we're in the rainy season right now in our area, and it like almost rains every single day, but we've been in a holding pattern this week of just constant rain. So before anybody has a heart attack and said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're cutting like that," well, it's not black rutting. I'm being mindful of what I'm doing here, and I know this yard very, very well. So you can see how easy it is to just get through gates and stuff. Like I don't even get off the mower. I'm just standing on the mower, and then I can operate it with one hand and then slide right in here to the backyard. So this backyard, again, very, very challenging. There's a lot of stuff to trim around. It is very, very small, but you can see like I would not want to be doing this with anything other than a 36-inch mower. Now you'll look over there at the pool area. When I circle back around, I'm not able to access that other side of the yard. One, because there's no access from this way, but if I were to drive around to the other side, the gate is actually facing the neighbor's property, which is a little strange. So I'm not able to drive a mower on that other side without completely going onto the neighbor's property. And it's honestly, it's so tight over there. We end up just using the trimmer, as you'll see in a little bit. But this job right here, like this would be like a typical like $55 yard for us. It's priced pretty aggressively for this neighborhood. There's a lot of guys that charge quite a bit more in this neighborhood per service, usually for bigger lawns. But 55 bucks is kind of like an average charge here. Let me see what we're talking about here. Typically try to stay off the neighbor's property, but he had the high ground over there, and it was either that or make an absolute mess. All right, here we go. Oops, it helps if I turn it on. Okay, so again, typically I would be starting on the front right of the property and then just jump this driveway. But again, because it's so wet here, I know that I'm gonna have to spend some extra time trimming out this whole area over here. So I just go ahead and just jump on this. A lot of people, they ask me about why we use what trimmers we use, and to be honest, man, I really feel like people just overcomplicate trimmer use. This trimmer is just the Echo, basically the homeowner special that you can get at Home Depot. It's like, well, we use the PAS system, but it's like 260 bucks for the Pro attachment system. You can see that little connection piece down there. I can put on hedge trimmers if I need to, switch over to an edger if I need to. But this trimmer for us, I'm talking about how wet this is. That's what I'm talking about. But this trimmer for us, it's perfect. I have several of these on my truck. The guys have several on their truck. And what we do is if we run into like a big hedge trimming job, it's just so nice to, like, instead of having to have 3 or 4 different pairs of hedge trimmers, all we do is open up the toolbox, throw on a set of hedge trimmers, and now everybody's running hedge trimmers, and we can just, you want to talk about flying through some work? When you got 3 or 4 dudes running hedge trimmers, like those hedges that take forever, they go very, very quickly. But again, the point that I wanted to make is that I don't subscribe that you need, you know, a $450 lime trimmer or $500 lime trimmer, and you can spend as much as you want on these things, but we get by just fine with the Echo, whether it's the 225 or the PAS system. It's basically the same engine on it, and if you're taking care of like regularly maintained lawns, you're going to have no issue doing everything that you need to do with this trimmer right here. Again, that's not to say if you're going to be like in some crazy retaining ponds, or you got like crazy overgrown stuff that you're routinely taking care of. Yeah, you might want to go invest in the $450 or $500 trimmer. But for us, we're taking care of lawns that are just basically being maintained. We're not doing any major cleanups. And I just like how light this weed eater is. If anything goes wrong with it, I don't even waste time trying to fix this thing. We usually get a season, sometimes 2 out of these things. And when they start giving us a problem or bogging down with power, we literally just throw the thing away and then get a new power head. And the benefit of that is we get to keep all of our attachments. So I get all of my edger attachments I still keep, all of my weed eater attachments I still keep, all of the hedge trimming attachments. I just got to get a new power head. So you can see right here, this is really, really challenging. And in this yard, even though I make pretty good time on it, this lawn takes me longer than a typical lawn would this size. Again, just because this area right here, it really just needs to be sprayed out and then a flower bed area created. It's kind of a maintenance nightmare, honestly, that area back there. So really just spraying it out and putting down some mulch or some straw would be a really good solution. But this is that side of the yard that I was talking about. See, this gauge is loose right here. We didn't hit that because we don't even bring our mowers in here. Oh, look at that pool overflow. That is the bane of my existence. I cannot stand when contracting companies, pool companies, don't plan for like getting that stuff out to the street, and then it literally just puts chlorinated salt water on people's lawns. Eventually, somebody will reach out and ask for a sod job in that area. But I wish pool contractors would do a better job with that. But anyways, you can see there's no gate here. The gate is up there. See it right there? It's on the neighbor's property, and I can't drive on the neighbor's property, or I don't want to. I want to have as little interaction with neighbors as possible. Look how I'm using this trimmer. I'm just kind of running it forward instead of doing the back and forth situation. View your trimmer whenever you have these big open spaces like this. View it as a handheld push mower. I know that sounds crazy, but look how much faster it goes rather than doing the back and forth swats. So you're basically just keeping the line on the grass, cutting it the entire time. And again, I just think to myself, hey, I have a handheld push mower right now. I let my legs do the work, walking forward and backwards, instead of letting my back. Look how soft this grass is. See all my footprints in it? I'll go try and blend it in, but it's still an absolute mess. That just goes to show like how wet this yard is. Like I'm walking in this, guys, and like my feet are literally like sinking down and gushing. So I don't know if the video is doing it justice, but this yard is incredibly wet. One thing to keep in mind, whenever you are walking across decks or walking across pavers or anything like that, just be mindful, particularly if you ever have to drive a mower around an area, like when it's wet like this, the mower, it just leaves an absolute mess on the sidewalks, on pool decks. And again, I typically don't even put a mower on pool decks, but I wanted to mention it because as I was walking on this deck today, just even my footprints, because they had grass stains on them, it was just leaving an absolute mess. So just be very, very mindful about decks. It just, to me, it looks really, really bad when people take a mower and just drive it all over sidewalk with wet grass in the tires. It just creates stains. And then you get in there with the blower and you can't get it blown out. But yeah, you see here I got the Darwin quick. I want to talk real quick about this pool pump area. I'll just do a voiceover. This pool pump area for us, we don't trim these areas out because our weed eater will do damage to those pipes down there if we just keep slapping it, and I've seen it happen. The best thing to do is install metal edging around this, spray it, kill it out, put down some tarp and then some rock, and that really cleans that area up, and it's also a great upsell to your clients. But this, you can see me holding this Darwin grip here. This Darwin grip, there's different companies that make different versions of it. If you want, I'll post a link in a description if you're interested in this. I feel like every lawn care guy in the world should have this. You see how mine is? I have mine kind of canted off to the left and angled up. That's just is what is the most comfortable for me. And I tell you what, it makes a tremendous difference in how good I feel at the end of the day. I used to just use the regular handle that came with these things, and you're constantly hunched over. You're never in a good position for your back. And whenever I first saw this product come out, it's been out for a very long time. Whenever I first saw these products come out, I thought, what a gimmick, that was my first reaction. And then it started getting a little bit of traction. I said, well, I'll try this, and I'll tell you this: if I didn't have the Darwin grip, I wouldn't even want a weed eat. Like that's like I've got to have this thing. It makes a huge difference. You see this little pipe that's coming down right here, the gray one to the left, the black wire? I busted it right there just then with my trimmer. It just chipped it off. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just weed eating like I normally would. But that's just to my point that people think that a trimmer can just blast PVC pipe. It can't. A trimmer, that PVC pipe exposed to the sun all the time. It gets brittle. It starts degrading a little bit. You start slapping that thing week after week after week after week with your trimmer. Eventually you're going to bust it. So homeowners, they always ask us, can you trim up behind the AC unit, or can you get a little closer to those wires? And I'll try. So we are typically going to use a metal blade edger to do all of our edging, but whenever it is this wet, and the yard is this saturated. If we were to take the metal blade edger and try and edge out this concrete, it is going to throw mud. Like, it's going to literally dig down in the mud and throw mud all over the sidewalk, and it's going to look terrible, okay? The string trimmer, it does not do quite as good of a job, in my opinion, as getting that really, really deep cut with the metal blade edger. But in a pinch, if with some practice, I mean, you can see here, I mean, those are pretty crispy lines with the string trimmer. And again, the benefit to using the string trimmer is that, you know, you're not kicking mud up all over the place. You can kind of just nip the edges of the grass out and just get a little cut down there instead of just digging, really digging down into the mud. But yeah, this guy, he's been a friend and a good client of mine actually for a very long time. I've taken care of a couple of their houses now. And they're actually one of my very first clients. So they've kept me around. So whenever I come into this neighborhood, I always like to come here and then put eyes on this lawn myself, and then just kind of give it a once over to see if there's anything out of the ordinary. Typically, the crew does an excellent job on all their properties, but again, whenever I come into this neighborhood, I'll kind of just take a little extra attention to come over here and just make sure everything looks just right. And I do that for pretty much all the yards. Occasionally I will go out and just kind of do spot checks on all the yards. I myself just like to kind of keep a bead, you know, on what's happening with everything. And again, like 99% of the time I go to the lawns and the crews are just doing an excellent job. But occasionally I see something that I'm like, hey, let's make sure we're working on this, or let's touch up this. And it's not me being like micromanaging or critical. It's just I kind of know like what the expectations are with certain clients, and I just like for us to do as absolutely as good of a job as we can. Okay, so yeah, obviously we're not able to cut in ideal conditions every time we go out and mow. And I wish we could cut when it's 70 degrees, no humidity, grass is dry, and get a perfect cut. But that's just not how it goes when you have a professional lawn service. You got to get out and get it done when you can. Okay, so we'll check our time when we get back in the truck. And I really feel like this took us a lot longer than it normally does, just because I had to weed eat so much extra because I couldn't drive the mower on it. But let's check and see where we're at. 22 minutes. So if we wanted to go all right, time divided by 60. And it gives us 0.367. This is a $55 yard. Divided by 0.367. So we're generating about $150 a man hour on that job, which obviously that's fantastic. We're going to ride approximately 30 yards forward. We're going to do 3 more right up here. You guys don't forget, if you ever need any help with your lawn care business, go to Turf Pros Academy. Talk about how to make really good money doing this. There's an art to it, there's a science to it, and I break it down step by step for you over there. That is in the description of my video. Just click on it, go down there, join us in Turf Pros Academy. We'd love to have you in there. But if you just want to watch the videos, that's fine too. Don't forget to give me a like. I'd certainly appreciate it. I'll see y'all in the next one.